Depending on what you know or what you don't know about this movie, talking about it at any length could create spoilers. So you came here for a review. I'll try to dodge it. But I also want to actually talk about the film. So I may stumble into what you consider spoiler territory, depending on what you know about the film. Just think about that. This is All of Us Strangers. This is directed by Andrew Haig, and the film stars Andrew Scott, Paul Mescal, Jamie Bell, and Claire Foy. I actually had stumbled upon uh, a film by Andrew Haig a long time ago called Weekend, and it surprised me. And I don't think I thought when I was watching Weekend that I would be watching somebody who would make something that would be this close to the Oscar race. This film has such incredibly impeccable scores from virtually everybody that it's bizarre that it's not automatically a lock. It actually seems to be scoring better than some of the things that we're considering to be locks for Best Picture right now. I even had the opportunity to read the column Deadline put out when it was released, where it talked about the cinema score and the sort of the breakdown of the people who saw it and loved it and recommended it. And it seemed like it was scoring really positively with audiences who had the opportunity to see it on its first weekend of limited release. So even with regular folk who were willing to answer some of the scores polls, um, it was still hitting with everybody. And this is such an incredibly nuanced film. It's powerful. It's also something that I think anybody can draw from. This is a little bit like Past Lives. And I don't want to overhype it, because part of the reason why I ended up not being blown away by Past Lives was because every person on the internet was just like, oh my God, Past Lives. Totally changed my life forever. It's like, okay, hold on. It may not, it may not change your life forever. All of the Strangers may not work for you, but there's a really good chance that it will. Um, it works for anyone who's ever left anything unsaid. For anybody who's ever had something where they haven't been able to have closure, and to be able to offer somebody the opportunity to have that closure, to be able to say what they did or didn't say before, to be able to live that is, I think, what a lot of people find the most interesting about this film. It takes place largely in a high rise in, I want to say London, but I just want to say London because I know it's a British film, but I know there are more towns in Britain, somewhere in Britain, in a large town, in a large high rise. So, yes, I didn't pay attention and catch the city name. Um, and they, Andrew Scott plays a man who bought in first to this high rise. I guess he has a place in this giant building that is largely unfilled. And I've heard stories of these, of how, somebody, they plan to develop it, but then like not enough people buy. Um, and it's sort of weird for the people who live there, because they're sort of like living with no one, but they're living in this gigantic facility that has, like a fitness room and a laundry area and all this, the amenities, right? That they advertise that it comes with it, but there's like no one who lives there. And it kind of plays on that, because we start with Andrew Scott, and then we find out that Paul Mescal is apparently the only other person who lives there. So, and he lives like on a different floor, and they seem to bump into each other. And Paul even mentions, he's like, yeah, we haven't even hired security yet. Like, I guess because there's only two people there. I mean, it's very unnerving to think of that somebody could just like walk in and just be hanging out in this giant building of yours. But I don't know. It feels almost like personal security at that point, but it's just the two of them. So they get to talking and just having friendly, neighborly conversations. We learned that Andrew Scott's character is a writer. Um, and then we also slowly start devolving into, or evolving, depending on how you think about it, into uh, relationship between these two. And um, the fact that they both are gay and live in the same apartment, and it feels very much like that proximity thing, where two people, it doesn't necessarily conquer all of the answered questions. This isn't necessarily a romance in that they feel like they share so much in common that they sweep each other off their feet. It just feels like, hey, we're the only two people who live here. What's up? um, it's like having easy grinder. Like, who do I have to choose from? Oh, there's only one person in my radius. Okay, well, uh, guess I should see what's up. you know. Um, so they have some conversations and eventually start having a relationship. In the meantime, something strange happening in the neighborhood. Who are you gonna call? Uh, but and Scott's character gets to um, revisit in ways that I'm jumping a little bit here, but while he's doing this, while he's living his life, he also, we see him revisiting his childhood home, and we learn more about Scott's past, and we get to meet his parents, played by Jamie Bell and Claire Foy, and it becomes pretty evident pretty quickly that these things are not necessarily how they lined up to be. And it talks about, they talk to him in sort of different ways than one might have a normal conversation. So there's some things that you can pick up on. But this is where I'm like, is it a spoiler or not? Like, I've heard so many people mention it, but I'm like, I'm not. So close your ears for 2 seconds and then we'll come back. So they're dead, and they died when he was 12, and he's seeing them as he remembers them and before they died. And he is getting an opportunity to tell them what he's never told them before about himself. All of the things, all of the stories, all the stuff he was too scared to say, not just the words "I'm gay," but anything. And that is what is so amazingly powerful. And he has little moments with both his father and his mother, and they are just, for anyone who's ever wanted that, for anybody who's ever needed that, this is what has people just dying in the theaters. This is why people are crying coming out of All of Us Strangers, because I think we all have somebody out there that we lost, and there was something that we wanted to say and didn't get a chance to say it. And All of Us Strangers is very much one of those films that reminds you to say everything, because we're not all going to have this opportunity that Scott's having to be able to, no matter how real or how imagined you may perceive it to be through the film, to have that moment. Because even if it's imagination, even if he's just having closure, it's nice to have that. I had a friend who died, and I thought it was so weird because it had been so long since I talked to him, and the night after I found out he died, I had a dream, and he was talking to me, and he was telling me everything was okay, and it felt like I was in a dream, but then he broke out of the dream. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I was in a dream, and he was there, but then he stopped for a second to kind of turn to me and have almost like he was breaking the fourth wall. And it was incredibly cathartic for me, for all of the things that I never got to say. And I felt like I got to say them. And whether or not I ever did, whether or not that was all in my head, it didn't really matter, because it kind of was at peace. And maybe I gave myself peace. Maybe the universe gave me peace. I have no idea. But that's sort of what's happening here for Scott. And why so many people are connecting to this is because I think we all have somebody, whether it's your parents, whether it's your grandparents, your brother, your sister, whoever it is, there are people out there that I think there's something that you haven't said them anything to. And that's what Andrew Haigh has tapped into with this film. And I'm just shocked that this is not like an obvious choice for Best Picture. I think it has everything to do with the fact that the lead is in a same-sex relationship and it comes across as being a gay movie. I guess, but there could be a lot of things that they could have gone any way with this. That's just where Andrew Haigh went with this film. That's the adaptation that he took. This film is an adaptation, actually, of a ghost story. The original version apparently goes in a completely different direction. And Andrew Haigh saw potential in what was in a completely different genre, and instead of having them haunt him, decided to have it be this way instead. And I think it's resonating with so many people, and I think it'll resonate and continue to resonate with more and more people as they see it, as this film goes wide. Anybody who's willing to sit through a little bit of men kissing to get through to the emotional stuff, come on, guys, really. I mean, as a blind critic, I love this film. As a gay critic, I love this film. It doesn't really matter to me, it could have been anybody. Paul Mescal's character could have been anybody, because while that aspect definitely hits for the people who that experience is for, like I never told my dad, so this absolutely could be that way for me, but it could be something different for somebody else. This could be a same-sex couple, and there could be something that one of them left unsaid. You could gender flip it and it would still work. There are always things that we have left unsaid, and there are always things that we need closure on with someone. And that's what Andrew Haigh has tapped into, and why this film is so damn relatable. It's almost like watching those films where the dog doesn't make it. Like, we spend a whole film watching it and then we get really sad because we've all had pets that we've lost. Like, it taps into the audience that loved a pet and lost a pet. And then when the pet doesn't make it at the end of the film, like in Marley and Me, it's easy, because we don't just see Marley, we see our pet instead. Not only did we grow to love Marley over the course of the film, or the book, if you read the book, whatever. It's a weird comparison, by the way, to compare Marley and Me to All the Strangers, but it's tapping into something universal. It's that loss of a pet, loss of a family member, when a pet becomes a family member like that. So I think that's why that film works for a lot of people. And this will work for a lot of people if they let it. If you just fucking let it work for you. So, I don't know why this isn't in the Oscar conversation more. This should not be a film that's on the fringe. This should be on a film that's like in leading the charge. By all accounts, this has the critics score. It's got support from audiences, Letterboxd, and everything. I mean, everybody loves this film. I just don't know. I don't know what's going on here. I loved it. I think this is one of the best films of the year. It's incredibly affecting, and I I get kind of like worked up even like thinking about it or talking about it. I'm just like, wow, I can't believe this is a film I definitely expect to revisit. Um, I don't want to oversell it. I don't want to do the past lives thing. I also don't think it's my favorite film of the year. I think there's something about a film. Um, I don't know what it takes to become my favorite, but I didn't get that vibe. I got that vibe that came really close, though. I get that vibe that it's maybe in my top 10, but it may not make the list. I don't know. I haven't made my list yet. I still want to see films. So I don't feel pressured. I don't know why so many damn critics feel pressured to get their top 10 lists out before the year is actually over. It's like you have a few more days left. Society of the Snow drops on Netflix on like January 3rd. Why don't you wait? You know, like you got a couple more days. Stop dropping your top 10 lists. Damn. Um, but yeah, this is a tremendous film, and I really hope you take a chance to see it when it comes to your area. So it's released by Searchlight, so of course it has audio description in theaters. It's not how I saw it though, which is why I walked around a certain thing I usually talk about. Um, and I will probably re-review it later on down the line and give it a more proper flogging in the audio description category. But right now I saw something magnificent and beautiful, and I wanted to say something about it. So um, for me, All the Strangers is an A. Uh, yeah, I have no idea what nominations it's going to get or not going to get. And I don't think it really matters. I think um, this film is going to survive based on the connection that it makes with its audience. And it'll be one of those films where if it doesn't get nominated by the time the Oscars run around and everybody's seen it, it'll be the most obvious snub where everybody's like, well, why did this film, how is it possible that this film didn't get nominated? So anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Please click subscribe. I hit my year-end goal and I'm on my way to my 2024. I don't know what my 2024 goal is, but click subscribe, stay with me, and I see a lot of films and review a lot of films, and very few blind film critics exist, and I just want to raise the profile and let Hollywood know that we need accessibility, that we're out there, and I'm on a quest. I'm on a mission of advocacy here. So in addition to reviewing films, I have a website, macthemovieguy.com. You can follow me on X, Threads, or Instagram at macthemovieguy. You can go to the audio description project, adp.acp.org. It'll let you know what is audio description and where you can watch it. And you can go to the ADNA.org. That's the ADNA.org. It'll let you know who's narrating your favorite films and television series. That's it for me today. I will I'll watch something else and see you guys on the other side.